Finally, I'd like to introduce our amazing Rhode Island Commerce Secretary, Stefan Pryor. Secretary Pryor and his team at Rhode Island Commerce have worked tirelessly to promote the state of Rhode Island and New England as an ideal landing place for businesses in the offshore wind industry. We are grateful to you, Secretary Pryor. I think I say that all the time. And our team is, and your team. We are very lucky here in Rhode Island to have such an amazing team supporting us. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Secretary Pryor.
Fantastic, Tuni. Thank you so much. Can you hear me fine?
We can.
Wonderful. It's so great to be with you all. We're so proud to be with Venture Café, which is a signature element of our innovation economy and led so well by Tuni as part of our Wexford complex affiliated with the Cambridge Innovation Center, our new innovation engine for Providence and for Rhode Island. And so pleased to be talking about the building of the American offshore wind industry. And we all on this call know that Rhode Island really has been the pioneer for this industry, certainly embedded within a larger New England story, but we're proud of the fact that Rhode Island birthed the American Industrial Revolution. We're proud of the fact that we've never stopped since. And I mean that quite literally, in that even during the COVID crisis, Rhode Island was one of very few states, perhaps the only state in the Northeast, that never closed manufacturing, never closed construction, not a subsector of the categories, not at all, through the entire crisis, through partnership with industry. And we're pleased with the fact that, of course, we are the first with turbines in the water in the United States. And we want to continue to position Rhode Island to contribute to the field and to enable the New England region and the United States, in fact, to pioneer in the wind industry. I want to recognize Hillary Fagan, who heads up business development for the state of Rhode Island within the Commerce team, does an extraordinary job, Hillary does, and focuses with intensity on wind. And you've already heard about Jeff Tingley. Jeff is so remarkably and appropriately focused on the wind industry and has been helping to grow the supply chain here and under Hillary's guidance to achieve more. I believe, Tuni, my first job before saying just a little bit more about Rhode Island is to introduce our congressman. Am I correct?
You are correct.
I'm so pleased to be doing that. It's an honor to do so. And I feel like we are blessed with Congressman David Cicilline because I've just created context around Rhode Island's progress that focuses on manufacturing. But the congressman from the 1st District of Rhode Island, Congressman Cicilline, is laser focused on manufacturing, has through every phase of economic growth and contraction in the United States, introduced ideas in Rhode Island and introduced measures in Congress around the importance of manufacturing, the importance of clean energy, the importance of providing gainful employment while being mindful of the environment. So there's no better embodiment, I think, in the country than Congressman Cicilline, and he's developed partnerships within New England, including, I think, an exemplary one with Congressman Kennedy that's years long and highly in depth. So it's my pleasure to introduce our Congressman, David Cicilline. Congressman, sir, you're...
Yep, thank you, Secretary Pryor, for that nice introduction, and thank you to everyone who's participating in today's virtual event and those who are listening in. I want to extend a special thank you, of course, to our hosts and organizers, Venture Café, especially Tuni, great to see you, and also Amy Erickson and Ocean Corridor Economic Alliance Northeast, especially Hugh Dunn and Lisa Raposa. You have all been incredible partners, and I appreciate your strong leadership on the blue economy and innovation, and I know you're going to have a great gathering today. I'm also incredibly excited to be joined by my friend and my extraordinary colleague, Congressman Joe Kennedy. Joe is, as you know, an incredible leader in the Congress, has been a great ally on all of these issues, and we've worked very closely on a number of important initiatives to our region, some of which will be touched on today. And I know that Joe is going to continue to be very engaged and helped lead this work, and he's done a remarkable job as a partner. We've been at this a long time, so I really appreciate his friendship and his partnership in this. As I know everyone listening in is a key stakeholder or an interested party in the blue economy and offshore wind industry, you know that our region is really poised to be a leader in this sector. The ocean corridor that stretches from the Cape to Narragansett Bay has the natural resources, the geographic location, the higher education, the private investment, researchers, and much more to support the growth and development of marine technology, which ultimately will continue to lead to the creation of good paying jobs and more clean energy for our region. There's already an enormous amount of work underway between our universities, the Naval Station Newport, offshore wind companies, and others as we continue to think strategically about how best to move forward in supporting this growing sector of our economy. And it's incredibly important that as we do that, we think very carefully and intentionally about working with our neighbors in Massachusetts and Connecticut. We all know that our economies don't stop at our borders, and it's vital that we think regionally and we work together to be really successful. And this is something Joe and I have recognized a long time ago. And in fact, Congressman Kennedy and I have worked closely, as I said, on a number of issues, but for nearly 4 years, we've collaborated on the potential for cross-border economic development opportunities in southeastern New England. And together last year, we introduced the Southern New England Regional Commission Act, which would include counties in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. And this legislation will help drive federal funding for economic and infrastructure development into the southeastern New England region, and would target several key initiatives, including transportation, telecommunications, and basic public infrastructure, job training and business development, promotion of resource conservation, tourism and recreation, development of renewable and alternative energy sources, and support for the maritime economy, including boat and shipbuilding, repair, defense manufacturing, and the composites and innovative materials manufacturing. So it's really, I think, very much aligned with the discussion you're having today. Regional commissions help address perceived economic underdevelopment, and a Southern New England commission could serve as a critical tool to spur investment in the blue economy and offshore wind sector here in our region. Also, we're about to move forward on the Moving Forward Act, which is a robust $1.5 trillion infrastructure package. And this infrastructure package makes lots of really important investments, but among them, we'll be authorizing a $25 million a year grant program at the Department of the Interior to help higher education and labor unions provide training opportunities for jobs in the offshore wind sector. It also preserves the production tax credit for wind energy. It extends energy credits for offshore wind facilities and invests more than $70 billion to transform our electric grid to accommodate more renewable energy, expanding renewable energy and strengthening the existing infrastructure. So I think there's a lot of stuff happening. I really want to salute all of the folks on this gathering and say a special thank you to Joe Kennedy, who has been such a leader on this issue and so many others, and I'm delighted to be joining with him today, and turn it back over to you, Elise or Tuni, for a proper introduction of Mr. Kennedy.
I think I might be back in action, Congressman. Am I right, Tuni?
Yes, you are, Stefan. Thank you.
I'm honored to be, and I'm so honored to be introducing both congressmen, and I'm asked to interject some Rhode Island information in between. So with your permission, I also just want to say one more thing about Congressman Cicilline, which is that through the COVID crisis, we've had incredible support from the congressional delegation for our governor and working in partnership with our governor. And Congressman Cicilline has been really right there at every turn, helping to bring resources home, including the $1.25 billion for the fund for relief for Rhode Island and many, many, many other fronts. So Congressman, our hat is off to you, and thank you for helping to grow such a strong wind industry. Congressman Kennedy, with your permission, I'm going to inject just a bit more on Rhode Island and then transition to you, sir. And we're so grateful, Congressman Kennedy, for your continuing partnership with us. But to continue with this format, I just want to point out a few other things going on in Rhode Island that are helping, we hope, New England as a whole, and helping to advance the industry in the nation and indeed in the world. Who on the line is from Orsted? Anyone, can you either demute and say here, or wave a hand or something like that if you're on from Orsted? Maybe no one at this exact moment, but I'm going to embarrass them anyway. Oh, did I hear a hello?
You did, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Who goes there?
My name's Chris Sarr. I'm the fisheries liaison for New England.
Hey, Chris. So Ørsted, of course, has its co-headquarters in Massachusetts and Rhode Island for the United States, which is emblematic of the partnership between these two congressmen. We're pleased with the fact that Deepwater Wind was born and raised in Rhode Island, birthed the first wind farm off of Block Island. We're pleased that on Block Island, if you do head out there this summer and engage in socially distanced fun, check out the souvenir shops. They do have t-shirts for sale that say Block Island wind powered since 2017. We're as proud of that as any aspect of our tourism industry. And we're pleased that since it was in fact birthed as an industry here in Rhode Island, Ørsted has created even greater presence here, including one of TUNY's neighbors in the Wexford Innovation Building, where there is now an Ørsted Innovation Hub for companies to pitch their ideas for Ørsted to bring to market whenever such companies are coming from anywhere in North America. Ørsted is joined by GEV Wind Power, Boston Energy, which is actually a British company, but another connection to New England in that nomenclature sense. Glaston, Harbor Light Software, Atlantic Wind Transfers. We have a whole host of companies that are pioneering in the wind field, in addition to Rhode Island companies that are making it happen. So that's just an additional taste by way of intro of how there are all kinds of interconnections, including this bifurcated and yet unified Ørsted headquarters as between our two states. And we're so grateful that Congressman Joe Kennedy III has been advancing this field. I can say I've had the privilege to see just a glimpse of the collaboration between Congressman Kennedy and Congressman Cicilline, bringing our state university systems together for scholarship in the field. And we're so grateful, Congressman, that in addition to the technological advancement that you've sought, you've introduced the STEM Gateways Act, which focuses on educational opportunity for middle and working class students, helping ensure that our young people get connected to the STEM fields as we grow industries such as these. There couldn't be a better focus. So our neighboring Congressman Joe Kennedy, welcome, and the floor is yours, sir.
Mr. Secretary, thank you. It is a pleasure and honor to be with you, and honor to be with all of you. Certainly, Congressman Cicilline, wonderful. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for your partnership, your friendship. And wonderful to see the efforts here that that all of you have been working on now for so long start to build that momentum and really start to deliver. And I'm grateful for it. Congressman Cicilline and I had been working for years now to try to foster some of that cross-border collaboration that Secretary Pryor and Elise, I think, had talked about a little bit earlier. Understanding that the economies of southeastern Massachusetts, of Rhode Island, and even of Connecticut are going to be linked. That we share a coastline, we share for a number of residents, obviously common culture, common media markets, and we have these enormous assets that actually the vast majority of our citizens already take advantage of, although federal policy doesn't necessarily reinforce. And so our effort has been largely trying to support efforts that are already taking place on the ground to try to realign some of those federal policies, and Congressman Cicilline has come up with some great ideas to do so. And through additional federal support based on regional economic growth and regional economic development. And he and I have been working now for years to try to jumpstart some of those efforts at a federal level, again, reinforcing some of the efforts that are already taking place. And obviously, one of those, there's two huge opportunities, I think, for southeastern New England, and those are linked, but certainly offshore wind and a blue economy. And everything from ocean engineering and robotics to discovery to the harvesting of an enormous renewable energy resource, the birth of an entire industry for our nation, the energy generation for hundreds of thousands for homes across the region. All of this is tremendously exciting. Obviously, it takes an awful lot of work to grow that industry and to create the collaboration that is necessary to break down some of those silos. But it is opportunities like this and entities like Ocean that are going to make sure that that we are going to be successful, and really just thrilled to be here and to be supportive. And obviously, there's more work that needs to be done. Congressman Cicilline and I need to continue to build on that support regionally, make the case to some of our colleagues across the country that these regional efforts, not only are they critically important for economic development in southeastern Massachusetts and Rhode Island and the region, but that this can serve as the model to be replicated, not just up and down the East Coast, but obviously all over the country and even in some of the Great Lakes states as well. It's the reason why we've also expanded some of those collaborative efforts to the other congressman from Massachusetts in the Southeast region, the distant placed Bill Keating, who has the other part of Fall River from me, who's been a wonderful collaborator in these efforts as well. We've recently introduced the Offshore Wind Jobs and Opportunity Act that is garnering additional support and I think is a critical piece going forward, and additional legislation to try to help center some of these efforts from our educational institutions like UMass, the UMass system, like Bristol Community College, like URI, to try to enhance that collaboration and really make this a unique effort for the region and nationally. So I'm grateful to be here. I also want to recognize that I know Hugh can't be with us, but I do want to recognize him for his leadership and his collaboration and his tirelessness and his determination. Without his efforts, Ocean would not be where we are. And so I did want to recognize his efforts. And then finally, just a big thank you to Congressman Cicilline again. It has been hugely helpful for me, not only to have a willing partner on the Rhode Island side of the border, but as a former mayor, to also get his insight and expertise and knowledge about how we break down some of those silos. Politics can be rather parochial, and the congressman's been eager to try to collaborate where we can. So, David, grateful for it, grateful for you. And Mr. Secretary, thank you for all of your work, and thanks everybody for having me.
Congressman, thank you very, very much. Congressman Kennedy and Cicilline, it's extraordinary to have this level of leadership, cross-border leadership and national leadership in our midst. And we're so grateful for your words and your actions over the years. This is not a momentary commitment. And Toonie, I'll just conclude with a couple of more factoids and turn it back to you. So overarching the endeavor to pioneer in the wind field is a new gubernatorial commitment in Rhode Island. That is to say, Governor Raimondo has declared and made a prominent goal for her administration and for successor administrations that Rhode Island establish a 100% renewable objective for its energy consumption by 2030, meaning 100% of our electricity delivery will be from renewable sources by 2030, which would be a nation-leading pace and would be among we'd be among jurisdictions in the world seeking that kind of attainment with such distinction. And we're very proud of that. And we know that in the portfolio of energy sources necessary to achieve that ambitious goal, the 100% goal, we need to double down, quadruple down on wind. So we've already got a contracted for 400 megawatt, 50 turbines in the water plan with Ørsted. It's called Revolution Wind, and we share that banner, Revolution Wind, with Connecticut and its own project. So there'll be a mega project really in New England on that basis. And of course, Vineyard Wind to the north in Massachusetts is also a key complementary effort, a partner effort really. So our New England region will distinguish itself, and we think we can show the world that we do this the right way. That we, with 400 megawatts, Rhode Island will be providing, just with that 400 megawatt move that's already contracted for and gone through our entire regulatory process, we will be providing enough power for half of Rhode Island's households through wind energy renewable sources. Think about that. We know we can get to the bigger goals together and that we can show the rest of the country how it's done. And we can also do it with the right kind of local sourcing, local supply chain, local development that isn't just about theft from surrounding states or just about competition. There'll be some competition, no doubt about it. but it'll be friendly competition aimed at ensuring a Pareto optimal situation where we grow what's happening for the entire region as we grow what happens for each of us. And we're determined to work with great industry partners to ensure that we build the right kind of training so we have workforce that can even go across borders and migrate to fit the demands of the industry, that we can build out our ports in a way that are complementary, that our stevedoring expertise in Rhode Island can be exported to other ports as it's already being, to let other Massachusetts, down the East Coast, let other states benefit from the experience we gain, and likewise are drawing upon. So let's be the right kinds of pioneers in the Northeast, especially with this kind of congressional leadership. And with that message, Tuni, all the way back to you and our gratitude for creating this forum. And we're looking forward to today.